Everything had been going according to plan, but a loose line was caught in the well. The sensors on the ship started flashing when they realized that the line was unspooling and had fallen into the event horizon. Making their way through the gravityless ship, they tried to reach the emergency release, but before they could get to it, it tightened and yanked the ship closer to the event horizon. The astronaut, Matthew, reached out and slammed his hand into the release button. The cord broke away from the ship, but it was too late. Everyone inside could feel the strong tug of the black hole. It felt as if everything was stretching to an impossible degree. Then they met the swirling light, which devoured all. In her dream, a blinding light fell upon her, and Jessica woke in the middle of the night with her heart pounding. She took in the dark room, then looked over to the empty spot on the bed next to her. It had been so long since Matthew left for space, though she knew his job was important, to learn as much about the sudden black hole that appeared so close to the solar system. It didn't make the pain of him being gone any better. She tried to lay back down, but her thoughts were racing. After putting her robe on, she stepped out into the patio. Her husband's massive telescope was set up, and at the end of it there was a line which ran inside and hooked up to a computer. It was set to follow the area where her husband was to be for several years. When she investigated it, she could clearly make out the black hole. It shifted the stars around it, making some of them look stretched and skewed. She wished that there was a telescope powerful enough to zoom in and see her husband. A light flickered from inside her bedroom, which caught her attention. A glance around the horizon showed that there weren't any thunderstorms approaching or any nearby lights on, so she returned to looking through the telescope. Matthew knew, and she believed she did deep down as well, that it was very likely he was not going to return home from his voyage, but nonetheless he still promised her that he'd get back to her somehow, someway. The light returned, which blurred her view, and she rose her gaze to see that a light was on in her room. It didn't appear like any of the ceiling lights or lamps, so she returned to her room to investigate. The light poured out of her tall body mirror hung up on the wall. Jessica pinched herself to make sure that she wasn't still dreaming, and felt the pain. When she stepped up to the mirror, she yelped and leaped back when she saw Matthew in the mirror wearing his suit, but without his helmet. He floated in the middle of swirling colors and lights. "Matthew?" she asked. "Yes, dear," he said with a smile. "I can't believe it worked. It's really you." Matthew moved forward to reach out for her, but he was stopped by the other side of the mirror. "How is this possible?" she asked. "We were pulled in," Matthew said. "But you can save us." "How?" Jessica asked, as tears began streaking down her face. "Just pull us out," he said, and put his hand out for her to reach for him. "Where are the others?" she asked, and looked for more of the astronauts in the swirling colors, but couldn't see anyone. "They'll come too," he said, and urged for her to come closer. She was hesitant, but she reached out and touched the mirror. It wasn't glass that she felt, but the gloved hand of her husband. She could feel his weight floating in front of her, and she pulled him. As he came through the mirror, the glass shattered, and she could still see the swirling colors within the frame. She wrapped her arms around Matthew, but she withdrew from him after her hand touched something slimy on his back. Matthew took a few steps towards her as she backed away. Then his body dropped at her feet. A gooey, tentacle-like appendage pulled itself from his back and began moving towards her. The creature it was attached to revealed itself within the frame of the mirror. It appeared like a giant fish with eyes that looked as if it were filled with stars. It opened a mouth filled with serrated teeth. Jessica avoided the tentacle as it attempted to grab her. She jumped about the room frantically until she grabbed her husband's old baseball bat, which he kept in the corner. She swatted at the tentacle as the creature tried squeezing through the frame. She took a final stand and tried using the bat against the creature's face. It roared and hissed with each hit of the bat. As she swung, the frame began to break as some of the hits collided with it. One more solid swing and it broke. A strong force began sucking into the broken frame. Jessica ran and grabbed her window frame as the force grew stronger. The creature wailed as it too tried to grasp something to hold on to. It grabbed her bed and pulled the bed with it as it was pulled into the swirling colors. When the bed cover hit the frame, the force stopped, and both Jessica and her stuff fell to the floor. She searched frantically around the room and found Matthew. He was breathing and his eyes were fluttering. "Matthew," she yelled. "Don't let them in," he coughed. "They'll eat everything." His breathing stopped, and Jessica tried CPR to no avail. As she cradled his body in her arms, she pulled her phone from her pocket and tried calling the other astronauts' spouses and family. "Come on, damn it," she said as she frantically called. But no one was answering.